Hello there, Qckslvrslash, and today we have a replay from the Sneaky Snake again, this time in the Tier 8 Pan-Asian destroyer, the Loyang, and I am playing alongside him. I brought my Roma, complete with beer can or space pope hat, whatever you want to call it, and just having some fun games. Was actually having a great win rate this day, and I definitely owed some thank yous to Snake for continuing that after this game. You'll see how it ends, but he definitely puts the team on his back and nearly breaks it trying to carry us. So off the start, we were talking and we kind of decided, well, we'll head down this kind of 2-3 line, see what we can't find. One of the things I've personally enjoyed about the Roma, and when I get around to my full review of her, I'll talk about, but her detectability is a strength. You can get it down to like 11 kilometer detection, which there's a couple battleships that can do it, but with the Roma and her tough armor and guns that honestly are hit or miss, they're either really good or really bad, getting in close is kind of necessary. So Snake here is getting ahead, doing what DDs do. He's going to spot for me, get out in front, try to help me find some things to work on. And there's the first one in Indianapolis, and obviously a bit of a threat to Snake because one of the lower tiered cruisers to have a radar, my shell's passing overhead, and well, not too much damage, but it's one down. You'll also notice this is a tier 9 game, and that also puts Snake at a bit of a disadvantage. Now, luckily for him, all the destroyers are 8 or lower, so that helps out. Had there been some tier 9 destroyers, you know, you just get that stacking strength. The other thing that's fortunate, not a ton of radar cruisers, so that's going to go a long way. And clearly that glitch has not been fixed with the most recent patch. So Snake off the bat starts working this Mahan over, and it's a Loyang. He's got the hydroacoustic search, activates it, helps him dodge the torps, and it's keeping this Mahan at least momentarily spotted. And because there's a nice big smoke there, Snake can pretty much just hang out. Nothing's spotting him. There are no ships with line of sight, and the Mahan, the one ship that had line of sight, got him behind his smoke. And this is where the Loyang can be absolutely devastating, is this exact situation where you've got a DD who kind of haphazardly decides, you know, I can just sit around, not really contemplating the fact that, hey, there's a DD with means to detect me. The black is the same way, and a lot of the Pan-Asian line is the same way. Even German destroyers, but for some reason, there's a lot of destroyer players out there who still just sit around when they get in an engagement with one of those DDs that can see right through that smoke screen. But with the first threat removed, Snake switches over, trying to light some fires on the Frederick Grossa. That doesn't go so well. Momentarily went to shoot the Indianapolis, but it quickly got finished off, and well, I may get a little over-aggressive here. My game's actually going to end pretty quick in this one, as I basically start chasing down this de Grossa, and I think it was the Rune. Snake just slowly putting little bits of damage on, and it does add up. Sure, it's like 583, and he wasn't lucky at all. No fires out of all those volleys. You can see checking over his shoulder, seeing what I'm doing, and I don't know what I was thinking when I started pushing, but hey, we all play stupid sometimes. Snake, on the other hand, he's pretty much playing this game to a T. With 2 destroyers in the middle of the map, he kind of decides his duty is to get over there and deal with them. You know, a Harukaze and Loyang left alone can take this Missouri out. Even though the Missouri has a radar, they play smart, stay out of that radar range, they can just throw torpedo after torpedo until the Missouri just sinks to the bottom of the ocean. Additionally, well, there's a couple juicy tier 9 battleships to throw torps at himself, so he's getting into a position to work on these Musashis. Meanwhile, other side of the map, I'm still charging straight at a Frederick de Grosse, and well, the armor is pretty reliable on the Roma. It's actually the rune that is really going to be the end of me. And you can see Snake keeps looking. He's trying to figure out if there's a way he can help me get rid of this ship faster. And there just isn't. You always want to help your teammate out, but you have to know when it's not an option. And right now for Snake, going back there isn't the best play. The best play for him is to let me live or die and work down these top tier battleships. And they're kind of just sitting there. They're really waiting for torpedoes to come their way. So Snake grants that wish and then pops his smoke. Now I do question the use of smoke there. It's going to be handy because yes, he's going to be able to post up and just go to town lighting fires, but I don't know that those ships would have thought, hey, there's a destroyer launching torpedoes at me in that moment. And unfortunately, there I go. My game is over. For Snake, a lot better luck against this Musashi. That third or fourth volley getting him the critical fire. And you'll notice he's in a smoke. Doesn't really have anyone supporting him with vision, so he uses that hydroacoustic search, and this will come back to bite him a bit. It definitely keeps him safe for now, but when the game's on the line, I bet he'll wish he still had this. And well, that Musashi was sitting still. It continued to sit still. Ada Torp took a flood, unfortunately has the repair available, and this is where you wish you had just that one friendly ship to give you some vision, because lighting up that Musashi really will go a long way, because damage control is used. Get a fire, well, it'll burn for the duration. Now, it's repairable damage, so that's going to eat in to potentially getting rid of the ship, but it'll go a long way to working them down if some allies can get shots on them. And the first volley of fire, definitely a bit of luck there, and well, Hydra doing its job because some torpedoes coming from astern. Snake gets lots of early warning, kicks it into gear, and just gets out of there. And if a Musashi is just going to continue to sit still, well, might as well throw more torps their way. Unfortunately, his welcome is about to wear out as the smoke is dissipating, so it's time to move, get to a new position, do something new. Now you can see out on that western flank, the de Grosse is dead, the rune is somewhere, and that rune's gonna stick around this whole game. I really think what the rune did is basically sail all the way down here and then kind of reappears mid-map late game. But so far, things are looking okay for us. We have a one-ship kill lead. You know, not in too bad a situation, but what really starts to hurt us and this team is just looking at where our ships are. Our New Orleans, way out on a flank alone. Ibuki, way out on a flank alone. This Atlanta is kind of in no man's land, doesn't have a lot to work on, and for the Atlanta to really do the damage, it needs ships in range that are spotted. There's a Lo Yang and Harakaze. We don't really know where they are, but I suspect they're somewhere up here working our cap over. Oh, never mind. There's Lo Yang. And we've got a Missouri that is sailing right between a pair of Musashis, and he finds out why that's a bad idea. And the Musashi, it's a strong ship if you give it the chance, and that's what the Missouri did there. He just charged in, can't angle against two ships when you're putting them on either side of you, and he just got wrecked. So, Snake is going to continue to have to do what he's pretty much done this whole battle to this Musashi, which is just continuously torp him. I don't know why the Musashi continues to basically sit in the same location, hasn't tried moving on, hasn't tried finding safety from the walls of torpedoes that keep coming his way, but, you know, not going to complain about a battleship that's eager to feed you damage. Now, he does finally start getting out of there, but not in time to dodge a couple more torpedoes, and that basically takes him down to no life left. This DeGrossa going to be able to help out with that. But you'll notice things aren't looking quite as hot for us. The team is starting to melt, ships are starting to disappear, and the gap that's opening up is really gonna grow. Now, unfortunately, this other Musashi, when it was last spotted, had just over 1,000 health, I believe. Would have been really nice for them to get killed, because it just makes things more even, and you're not fighting as big an uphill battle. Plus, you know how it is. You leave a battleship alive, it comes back with, you know, potentially a full ship, depending how the damage came. Now, DeGrossa, he's getting too aggressive. When you start to find yourselves in situations late game, the other team has a numbers advantage, you need to group up, play a little more conservatively, and really find your advantages. Find those places where you can outnumber, you know, opponents in one area of the map. Just like Vossi's Kagro game, where those enemy ships had the opportunity to do just that and kind of threw it away. You need to force those situations. So by grouping up, you're more likely to run into, you know, a straggler in the enemy fleet and be able to do some real damage. Now, unfortunately for Snake here, he's used all those Hydras. He doesn't have any left, and, well, a couple destroyers hiding in smoke together. The enemy Lo Yang put his Hydra up and had Snake detected. So, that's not so great, but he does the right thing. He just turns tail, gets out, preserves as many hit points as he can, unlike a DeGrossa, which is just sailing right between a couple enemy ships, and it got him deleted really quickly. And the situation starting to look more dire. But it's not over. In a standard battle, you have the time. You can be patient, you can work ships down one at a time. And our Scharnhorst against this North Carolina has a very good opportunity. The Scharn is getting right into that torpedo range, and that will go a long way if he can get rid of pretty much a, 75% health North Carolina. Erasing something like that off the map, that's a big hit point pool that you've removed. You'll also notice that stream of Atlanta shells. And having a ship like an Atlanta available this late in the game, when you have a couple enemy destroyers, having that radar, that ability to just send shells continuously, it can go a very long way. Now, in this kind of situation, I really do feel the Scharnhorst could better have used what he had available. He's got a side-on Pensacola. Should be using AP, shooting the Pensacola, focusing the torps on the North Carolina. Those torpedoes, if he gets in close, launches them broadside, he's going to do a lot of damage. But he's basically ignoring this Pensacola, and I don't know why. That's an easy kill at that kind of range, but he doesn't do it. Either way, this North Carolina is going to die. The Atlanta just hosing him with shells, but the Scharnhorst continues to close in, focusing his guns on that North Carol, and finds himself really far forward in a stream of torpedoes. So that was a trade. Luckily, things could be worse. The Pensacola it got killed at the last moment by the Sharon horse, so it's 3-on-2. And in a situation like this, you have to defend the base. It's really the only option, and luckily this is the perfect setup for the ships that are remaining. This set of islands, they're going to provide amazing cover for the Atlanta. It's going to be able to rain shells over them all day, and you've got a destroyer left late game to provide the vision for that Atlanta. That's exactly what's going to happen here. The Atlanta getting into position. There's the Musashi. And you'll notice in chat I start talking because Snake and I are in comms. I'm trying to get him information from the Atlanta, and he's focused on gameplay right here. Now with the destroyer spotted, obviously that's who the shells are being fired at, but once he goes away, that Atlanta is going to be able to just park in right where he is, remain undetected, and just remove this enemy battleship and bring it to a 2-on-2. Unfortunately, there is the rune that we haven't seen in quite some time. Right in the middle of the map, on good health, and he's got a Lo Yang with him. That's going to be hard to overcome. Now if the rune and Lo Yang charge up the middle to get into the cap, no problem. Snake just passively spots, the Atlanta just starts racking up free damage, and you get rid of the enemy ships. And at first it looks like that's what the rune is doing, as Snake picks up that kill on the Musashi with one of the torps. Now, in situations like this, you can kind of read where your enemy destroyer is based on what the friendly cruiser is doing. You can pretty much assume the rune isn't going to sail in here solo. He disengaged early game when there was a bit of pressure on him. Late game, he's not going to suddenly YOLO in. And as you kind of expect, the Lo Yang appears, and you'll notice he's right on the edge of that detection range. And, well, Snake has to get out. He doesn't have the Hydro available. Kind of sucks. One more would have gone so far in this situation, but it's okay. Also, unfortunately, as you can see, we're asking the Atlanta, hey, got that radar you said you had left, but he already used it. And that's rather unfortunate. But Lo Yang does creep a little too far forward, gets himself spotted, and, well, eats a bit more damage. He's in the cap. Now, this is a bad situation. 2 minutes left. Enemy DD in the cap. Now, Snake obviously has his torps, but you have to assume that that Lo Yang has his Hydro. Unfortunately, with the amount of time left, there is a situation, at least I think points-wise, where them pausing the points long enough could mean that even if they get a kill, it's not enough. So Snake, he makes the decision. You can tell me, telling that Atlanta, be ready. Snake is basically charging in blind. He's Hydro detected. They need to get this Lo Yang. And, well, the Atlanta starts firing. He's trying to zone in on wherever that gunfire is coming from. And I think it helps a bit. I think it forces the that enemy Lo Yang just momentarily to hold fire. And you can see from where those shells are, Snake is getting close. Don't know where that rune is. It could be waiting just around this corner, ready to absolutely end Snake, which, if he is, that's the game. Unfortunately, for this enemy Lo Yang at least, the rune is kind of doing a bit of what he did earlier in the game. He felt some pressure and he disengaged, and he put himself just a little too far to actively help. The Lo Yang is spotted. Snake just opens up with his guns, gets a fire, one more volley. There's the enemy destroyer. And now the entire vantage is Snake's and this Atlanta's. It was risky to charge in there, but it had to be done. With the amount of time left, you can see there's only a little under 30 seconds by the time they got that Lo Yang. Had the enemy just run, they won that game. But Snake worked hard, he played smart, and came away with the win. Helped me get another win. And the results really speak for themselves in this one. 135,000 damage, 6 torpedo hits, 4 kills, 138 penetrating hits, another 93 non-penetrations, and unfortunately I can't see the full statistics. He didn't have screenshots, so I just had to go up online to pull what data I could. But Snake played a smart game. There was a time where, yeah, he left me to die. I misplayed. It was my fault. And he needed to do that. And that's something I think more teammates need to realize is there's a point in time where the smarter play for your entire team is to abandon the idiot charging in at a battleship a tier higher. With his result, no surprise that he tops the team by a decent chunk, and you can see me kind of there in the middle. And I don't really know what else to say. Snake did a really solid job. That final move, charging into the Lo Yang, I can remember watching it, and you're just praying that the rune wasn't sitting there, and the rune had sailed away, never got spotted again. It's unfortunate for the enemy Lo Yang that was the case, because they really had a situation where they could have forced the win or just retreated and won, and they did neither. Anyways, thank you Snake for sending this. If you guys check out in the description, I have a link over to his channel, and hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing, and as always, I'm Qckslvrslash, and I'll have another one for you all later.